Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Landon Wiley here, going to talk about what's going on with the weather this weekend here in South Dakota. Starting with the 3-day outlook. So today we got a chance of showers and thunderstorms this evening, potentially late this evening. There's still warm, breezy conditions ahead of the warm front, and we still have elevated fire weather conditions here in western South Dakota. And then tomorrow, well, we're going to break this down more, what's going on here in South Dakota tomorrow here in a little bit. But tomorrow, we're talking about showers and thunderstorms. Some of these thunderstorms may be strong to severe in western South Dakota. And then Monday, look at what happens. On the backside of this cold front, we're going to be talking the highs 30 to 50 degrees with snow mixing with rain in northeastern Wyoming and the Black Hills. And there's going to be the chance for a couple inches in the higher elevations of the Black Hills of snow. Moving on to the next one. All right, so this is the Storm Prediction Center's severe weather outlook for Sunday. The area in light green is your general risk for showers and thunderstorms, which does include Rapid City, Custer, Hill City, Hot Springs, Edgemont, all the Black Hills. As you can see, as you start shifting more toward eastern South Dakota, you can see that there's that enhanced risk. And once you hit the Missouri River going east, you can see you get into that slight risk and then your moderate risk. So if you can, I got my friend Jason helping me out. He's running the computer for me. Go ahead, Jason, and switch over to the severe weather look for tomorrow for Sioux Falls. And we're going to talk about this because this is what's going to happen tomorrow in eastern South Dakota, that severe weather threat. And you can see there's some really interesting things going on in eastern South Dakota. We got the threat for there's a moderate or enhanced risk. It was actually downscaled from a moderate this morning. Then the Storm Prediction Center knocked it back down to a slight or to a enhanced risk from moderate, but there's a strong chance to see tornadoes. Some of these could be EF2 or stronger in southeastern South Dakota. Hail 2 inches or in 2 inches or greater in diameter. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's straight line winds, and a low risk for flooding. There's still a slightly conditional risk on clearing clouds, but strong to severe storms are going to be possible in between 3 and 2 a.m. Tomorrow into Monday morning in eastern South Dakota. So to look at this, as you can see, this area in orange, which does include Omaha, Sioux City, Yankton, Vermilion, Sioux Falls, Pipestone, Minnesota. So there's a big O'Neill, Nebraska. So there's a big chunk along that I-29 corridor there within a good 60-mile radius. 60 miles Sioux Falls there. This is kind of the bullseye area tomorrow. Okay, Jason, what do we got next we can talk about here? Yeah, let's go ahead and break that one down. So to dive more into the large hail probability for tomorrow for eastern South Dakota, this is the probability of each severe weather element. And this was from the National Weather Service in Sioux Falls as of 2:18 this afternoon. So we can see there's a 30% chance of 2-inch or larger hail tomorrow. This is a significant and very large hail risk with 2 inches or greater possible. Then you can see on the damaging winds, there's hazard up to 70+ mile-an-hour winds. So tree damage possible, power line damage is going to be possible, minor shingle damage possible, outdoor furniture and loose objects blowing around. And then on the tornado threat, the potential, so we got a 15% probability of tornadoes in the southeastern part of South Dakota tomorrow afternoon and evening. Property damage or destruction, tornado risk is widespread. A few strong tornadoes are possible. Okay, go ahead and go to the next slide, Jason. Yes. I think. What? No, we didn't. So going back to what the weather's going to do in the Black Hills. I know Hill City has their high school graduation tomorrow morning up at Mount Rushmore. So to kind of break down what's going to happen, and I see this pattern, it happens almost every spring here in western South Dakota, where eastern South Dakota, ahead of a strong cold front, where that warm moist air collides with that incoming cold front, what will happen is they will see the severe weather threat, and then on the backside, it's going to be about 30, 40 degrees colder roughly, and there's the Black Hills and the higher elevation will see snow. So tonight for the Black Hills, lows are going to be in the 40s, chance of rain and thunderstorms. Tomorrow, chance of thunderstorms. Going to be breezy ahead of that passing cold front. Temperatures are going to be ranging from the mid-50s to low 70s. And then Monday, we're going to be talking temperatures dropping to around freezing to around the low 30s to 50 degrees, depending on where you are. Temps are going to be colder in the higher elevations of the Black Hills, which is why you're going to see the potential for a couple inches of accumulating snow in the higher elevations of the Black Hills. Lee, Deadwood, Custer could be affected by that. And then Tuesday, this tapers off with temperatures warming back up to the mid-40s to mid-50s. Still, there's going to be some early morning rain-snow mix. That's going to lead to clearing. All right, let's go over to the radar. Yep. All right, so as you can see, counties, Stanley County, Jones County, Lyman County, Buffalo County, Hyde County, red flag warning for critical fire weather. At this point, you can see there's a cold front already up to our north. And then one thing, but that's not the cold front we're talking about. So as you can see here, lightning counter is not detecting any lightning right now, which is a good thing from the fire weather perspective. But you can see there's some rain down here into Fall River County, right outside of Edgemont right now. And then you can see there's just this line. This is just general light rain showers. But if you shift out here into Wyoming, you can see this trough right here, this tan line, stretching from Buffalo down to Douglas and going south towards Cheyenne. That's what's driving the rain showers this evening here in the Black Hills. So it's going to start raining here within the hour here in Custer, probably within the hour here in Hill City as well. Looking, and then you can see further west into Wyoming, you can see this cold front over here into Wyoming. So on radar here, can we switch over, go to sites, go to select, and then scroll down to Wyoming, WY, and then give me the Riverton radar, please, Jason. Yep, and then click OK. All right. So here's this cold front that's going to be causing the problems in South Dakota and Nebraska for tomorrow. This is looking at the Riverton radar. You can see there's a lot of rain out here. Here you can see Casper. All this is a winter storm. Winter weather advisory. Counties in pink. Winter. Is that winter storm watch? No, excuse me. That's a winter storm warning. So, Casper, you're under a winter storm warning. So, that means you're going to be seeing some snow. There's places up in Montana that are projected tonight to see possibly up to a foot of snow. But as you can see right now, ahead of this cold front, this is still rain. Temperatures are still relatively warm into the 60s right now in Casper, but temperatures are going to drop as this cold on the back side of this cold front, and this is going to turn into snow. So let's go back to the Rapid City radar. All right, so we're still not seeing any lightning, which is a good thing. The stronger cells are down toward Edgemont right now into Fall River County. But nothing's popping up as far as hail or anything like that. Again, no lightning yet. This just looks like general rain showers. It looks like to me that this cell by Lance Creek might be trying to intensify a little bit. But otherwise, I'm just seeing rain showers until that cold front passes through tomorrow. So I think what's going to happen is tonight it's going to stall. At some point it's going to, I think that cold front will end up stalling as the Black Hills are supposed to see snow on Monday. So, I mean, And so that cold front, so Casper's about 200, roughly 250 miles away to our west, and the cold front's still out toward Riverton, which is west of Casper yet, into central Wyoming. So we're talking at least 300, maybe 350 miles to our west is this cold front. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to end up stalling out at some point because, like I said, the backside of that cold front on Monday is supposed to produce snow in the Black Hills. So right now there is no weather advisories in effect for snow for the Black Hills. That could, a winter weather advisory could possibly get issued due to the potential for a couple inches of slushy. So when I say slushy, I mean we're going to have that warm, moist air coming off the Gulf Coast, and then we're going to have that cold, dry air coming down out of Canada, and that's going to create the potential for this unstable and potentially dangerous weather situation for tomorrow into parts of eastern South Dakota. So for my friends in Hill City that are watching this broadcast this evening, I do recommend taking a jacket with you if you are attending graduation up at Mount Rushmore National Monument tomorrow. Hill City is the only high school in South Dakota that holds graduation at Mount Rushmore National Monument. So, again, there's going to be potential. So I think for tomorrow, it's going to be on the cool side tomorrow morning in the Black Hills. I'm not positive on what the winds speeds are going to be like, but I know it is supposed to be breezy with that frontal passage coming through. As you can see, we got a trough, which is kind of the firing, or one of two firing mechanisms. This is just round number one. And again, this is just light rain. And then that cold front off to our west that comes through tomorrow, that's going to bring round number 2 to the Black Hills. So currently in Custer, our temperature. So currently we got a temperature of 63 degrees. Winds are east, southeast at 13, gusting to 23. Relative humidity 26% right now. So, Jason, what else do we got that we can cover here? Go ahead and pull that one up. All right, here we go. So this is the thunderstorm risk for tonight into tomorrow. This was as of 2 o'clock this morning, so this is a little outdated. But thunderstorms possible late tonight. Some of them may be strong. I think that's going to be more into Nebraska and southeastern South Dakota, with hail, gusty winds, lightning being the main threat. And then tomorrow, thunderstorms are possible, but again, this is just general thunderstorms for the Black Hills. Thunderstorms possible tomorrow afternoon across south central South Dakota. And that's where the start of that severe weather threat becomes tomorrow. So that's going to be east of the Black Hills. So let's go back over to radar, if we can, Jason, and let's switch to the Hastings, Nebraska radar, if we could, please. Yes. Okay, so this is very colorful. So looking at the Hastings radar, this is very cluttered to say the least because there's a lot going on here. So you can see into parts of northeastern, central, southwestern Nebraska here into Kansas. You can see a large chunk of Nebraska is under a severe thunderstorm watch. And look at how many lightning strikes the Hastings, Nebraska radar is detecting. 963, that's almost 1,000 lightning strikes that the Hastings, Nebraska radar is currently detecting right now. So, and you can see there is multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in effect in Nebraska right now. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 severe thunderstorm warnings in Nebraska and a tornado warning in Nebraska currently. So we're going to switch to talk more about this. We're going to switch over to the Omaha radar. This is still very cluttered to say the least here. All right, so as we can see here, this is on the Omaha, Nebraska radar. There's a storm. We're going to talk about this tornado warned storm. So we're looking at the shear. There's a pretty good strong shear here. There is a tornado warning in effect. So you can see Lincoln. So this is south of Lincoln. You can see a severe thunderstorm warning in effect west of the Lincoln metro. There's a good line of thunderstorms to the south of Lincoln right now, producing some very significant hail, it looks like, in 2-inch plus. Shut that All right, so this is the probability. 89% probability of 88% probability of hail. The hail is 2.1 inches, so that's pretty good size hail. Actually, Jason, on the subject of hail, I believe one of our graphics, I think it's graphic number 1, talks about hail size. Can we jump to that for a second, please? Then we'll come back to radar. All right, so to talk about this, so 2 inches is egg size hail. So in So as you can see, inches is the size of your hailstone. Mile per hour, mph, is the size, or excuse me, the speed in which the hailstone falls from the clouds. So the larger the hailstone, the faster it falls. So an egg-sized hailstone falls at 70, right around 70 miles an hour. Tennis ball, that's your 2.5-inch hailstone, talking 77. Baseball is 2 3/4-inch hail. That falls at roughly 80 miles an hour. Your teacup, that's your 3-inch hail. That falls at 84 miles an hour. Your grapefruit size hail, that's your 4-inch diameter hail, right around 100 miles an hour. And softball size hail, which is 4.5-inch hail, that falls at 103 miles an hour. So why does baseball, tennis ball, baseball, grapefruit, softball size hail do so much destructive damage? It's not only because of the size of the hail, it's also because of the speed in which it's falling to the ground out of the clouds. Thanks for watching, Matt. That's a really good idea that roof salesmen should follow. So if we can go back to the Omaha radar here, Jason, there's still a lot going on down here, and this is where the severe weather threat has. Can you double click on that red box here for me, Jason? Yep. All right, perfect. So the National Weather Service in Omaha has issued a tornado warning for northwestern Gage County. Thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado, moving east at 20 miles an hour. That's producing golf ball size hail. Go ahead and close that warning box. Yep, there you go. All right, and then let's zoom back out. All right, let's go. Let's scroll up a little further to the north. All right, let's zoom in on that severe thunderstorm, that yellow box right there. Let's zoom in on that. Let's talk about this one. All right, so for people watching that don't know this, here's Wayne, Nebraska. This is where Wayne State College is. I went to college in Wayne, Nebraska at Wayne State for several years. So this is right outside to the southwest of Wayne, and you can see looking at the white, there's a really large, looks like a pretty good hail core according to radar. What's what's that purple or that pink line showing? What's the readouts on that? Looks like 1.5 inch hail falling out of that one. 67% probability of hail with that storm. Let's go ahead and switch over to the HCA. Just click on the first one there. There we go. Perfect. So as you can see, this area in red right here, looks like there might also be a small pocket of hail coming into Wayne any moment. But you can see with this severe thunderstorm just north of Norfolk, Nebraska there, you can see that that's a pretty good hail core in red right there. I'm not seeing any giant size hail, but I am seeing a good pocket of large hail, or hail, couple pockets of larger hail with that. Still a lot of lightning, 700 lightning strikes with that. All right, let's go back to the BR. Yeah, so the reflectivity off the Omaha radar is actually detecting right where that hail core is. That's where that area in pink and white is. That's radar, the reflectivity picking up on the hail. So that's going to be your hail signature, your hail core, so to speak. All right, let's zoom back out. All right, go ahead and double click. Okay, so that's kind of interesting because the Omaha radar was actually showing some stuff creeping up toward southeastern South Dakota, up toward Vermilion and Yankton, but looking at the Sioux Falls radar, it's not really showing much to the south of Yankton right now. So nationally, we got 17 severe thunderstorm warnings. 17 severe thunderstorm warnings with considerable damage. 2 severe thunderstorm warnings with destructive damage. And 2 tornado warnings across the United States right now. So, to talk about this, so we got that 1 tornado warning in effect for Gage County, Nebraska until 7:45 p.m. local time. Go ahead and scroll down on that box a little bit, Jason. So most of these warnings look like, go ahead, keep scrolling down. So there's a few severe thunderstorm warnings. Obviously, there's still a handful of severe thunderstorm warnings into Nebraska at this time. A lot of this is into Kansas right now. I'm just curious what the maybe the Wichita, Kansas radar would look like if you can close out of that warning box. I'm just curious to see what this radar, Wichita, Kansas, KS. All right, so that's a little too far south than what I was thinking. But as you can see, even down into Kansas, Oklahoma, the Texas Panhandle, look at this. Red flag warning, red flag warning, red flag warning. So, fire conditions. And you can actually see a warm front here. So, jump over if you can. Just double-click that Goodland. Yep, just double-click that. I think that's going to tell us the story down here into Kansas. Ooh, wow, look at that. That's pretty. Yeah, that's real colorful. Oh, wow. All sorts of activity going on here. So this is the Goodland, Kansas radar. So we're right along the Colorado-Kansas border. You can see a warm front going through Kansas, or eastern Colorado, Kansas, into Nebraska, where it changes into a stationary front. But you can see this is kind of cluttered screen right here. It looks like there's some tornadic activity. So let's zoom in. Yep, let's zoom in and take a look. Zooming in. Yep, scroll over to your, yep. All right, so you're looking at some 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. Let's take a look at this pink triangle right there. That's showing some pretty strong lower level delta velocities and max delta velocities of 95 knots. So you're talking wind speeds in the upper 90s right there. Go over to the lowest level on the BV. Base velocity, yep. Wow, that's colorful. So this is the base velocity. This is winds going toward and away from the radar site. So we're using this to look for rotation, tornadic rotation here. And there definitely could be, this area did have a tornado or a funnel cloud reported earlier with this. Let's jump over to the NROT. This is the normalized rotation, and yeah, as I thought, looking at the velocities, you can see right here, there's some stronger rotation going on with that storm to the south. This would be to the east of Goodland. So we're into Kansas, but there's definitely some tornado vortex signatures. There's some 75 to 80 mile per hour straight line winds and some rotation with this storm. It is not warned right now. So let's go back to the reflectivity, the BR. And that, I mean, just looking there, that's a pretty substantial hail core in there. Not really seeing a well-defined hook, but it looks like it could be trying to form one right there. But if you zoom back out to the bigger picture here, Jason, you can see, okay, that's a perfect view here because this kind of just shows what's really in store here. So this is just this is round one. This is affecting Nebraska, Kansas, and you can see off ahead of that front you do got two severe tornado warnings. There's no tornado warnings on the backside of that, but you can also see into Missouri there. There's a couple severe thunderstorm warnings over there as well. I mean, green boxes are flash flood warnings. I mean, you can see the Goodland, Kansas radar is picking up 823. Let's go ahead and pull up one of the radars up in Montana, if we could. MT. Let's go Great Falls. Okay, so this is on the backside of a stationary front, but you can see western Montana winter weather advisory in effect. And you can see north of Bozeman, you can see there's actually some snow in the Bozeman area right now. Let's jump over to the Billings radar, just double click on the Billings. Okay, that's telling me a little better picture there. All right, thank you, Jason. So, as you can see here, here's Billings, Montana. You can see this is a stationary front, so that means it's stalled out. That's cutting into South Dakota. So we'll jump back to the Rapid City radar here in a little bit. But as you can see, this rain is changing over to snow. And as you can see, again, areas in counties shaded in blue, winter weather advisory. Counties in tan, wind advisory. So you can see here's the low pressure system, here's the cold front into central Hi, Marcia. I started doing that last year, last summer. So to continue with what I was saying, the this rain is going to change into snow. This is what we're looking at in western South Dakota for Monday's precipitation. So this stuff around Billings, this is going to affect you in the Black Hills on Monday. I'm thinking it's going to shift to the southeast, and that's going to be where our snow is coming from. So let's bounce over to the Rapid City radar. Should be able to just go ahead and cancel. Go back to the sites and just go right down to Rapid City. Yep. All right, so radar's still not detecting any lightning, but you can see there's that stationary front. It's trying to change into a cold front. So there's not one, but two cold fronts here that we got to talk about. We got this one that stretches along Highway 212, going through Gettysburg over toward Watertown. And then we got this one off to our west. I want to see one detail, if I may, here, Jason. So this winter storm warning for Natrona County is in effect from 6 p.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time on Monday. So Natrona County, Wyoming, that's where Casper, Wyoming is. So that's kind of giving you a timeline. I'd be curious to see what the National Weather Service in Riverton is saying about that. So hold on, what we're going. This was kind of a afterthought to think about this or to look this up. So just bear with me for a moment, folks. Because I am curious on what they are saying. All right. So this is what I was looking for. So we were talking about, you can see the counties here in pink, winter storm warning, in winter weather advisory, winter storm watch. This is for Wyoming, central Wyoming. This winter storm warning does include the city of Casper, Wyoming. So this is the update from the National Weather Service office in Riverton, Wyoming as of 2:30 this afternoon. A large potent weather system will bring precipitation Sunday into Monday. Winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories are in effect starting Sunday evening, lasting into Monday evening. Gusty north winds will be an additional hazard with blowing snow and reduced visibility, especially across I-80 for many communities on their Monday morning commutes. So if we can, with this, so what I want to do now, All right, so for that winter storm warning, for including the city of Casper, which is why I actually saw something on Facebook yesterday that was from Iowa State University in Ames, Iowa, from their weather department, talking how the Black Hills on Monday into Tuesday could maybe see a half a foot to a foot of snow. And here's maybe why I'm thinking that, why I agree with this. Let's look at Casper here, because we're talking heavy snow expected. This is from 6 p.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Monday. Heavy snow expected. Total snow accumulation between 3 and 5 inches, with higher amounts up to 7 inches, with winds gusting of 40 miles an hour. So the snow for the Black Hills, it's going to be interesting to watch the timing on that. Let's go back over to, let's minimize out of this if we can, Jason. And yep, right there, perfect. So let's see what we're looking at. So radar, the Rapids, looking at their live look at the Rapid City radar. Rain starting to move into Fall River County. Edgemont, you should be getting some rain right now. Looks like Custer, Hill City, Keystone, you're probably half hour, 45 minutes out from seeing rain. Rapid City, I would guess you're probably maybe a good hour out from seeing some rain accumulation right now as well with this. But at this time, there's no severe, all the severe weather right now is into Missouri, Kansas, and Nebraska. But again, this is a big storm system that's going to have multiple implications across the entire state of South Dakota. One more radar I want to look at, Jason. Can you click on that up toward the top there, top right? You see the KABR, the Aberdeen radar? To your right? Right? Yep, that one right up there. Yep. Let's just see what this is showing us. And this, nothing showing up on the Aberdeen radar, but look at this, folks. It is showing that cold front, though. Again, that's right along highway. No, that's actually dropped since the last time when we talked about that. So now that's actually, let's see. That's probably running, it looks like along highway close to just north and maybe along highway 14 there, in between Brookings and Pierre. So you're going to see some wind ahead of that. It's going to be a couple hours before that cold front drops down into the Black Hills. As you can see up into Minnesota here, this is kind of interesting because I'm seeing a red flag warning here into parts of Minnesota. I know that parts of Minnesota where there was some wildfires going on into parts of Minnesota. But I'm also seeing some winter weather advisories up here. So let's take a look at the Duluth, Minnesota radar if we can. That'd be MN and then Duluth. No, that's not a winter storm. So what are we looking? So Duluth, you're under a red flag warning. But I'm kind of curious to see, is that a frost or freeze warning up along the Canadian border there? It looks like a frost advisory. And then we also have near historical fire weather conditions over northeast Minnesota. That's a special weather statement. Okay, so one other thing we're going to... Nope, that's not the screen I want to look at. Go to Windows. Let's see, that's in the Kansas. Yeah, that's looking at the Hastings radar. Let's see if we can declutter some of this for the moment. And that is, let's see which radars. Nope, that's not the right radar. Nope. Okay, so into parts of, oh, it looks like parts of Missouri here. You can see counties in yellow ahead of a stationary front. That's a tornado watch right now. That's north. That's going to be for areas southeast of the Omaha metro area and north of the Kansas City area. It looks like I want to go back to the Omaha radar because it looks like there's a pretty interesting thunderstorm going on in the Lincoln area. With some pretty substantial hail, it looks like. Maybe 2 inches in diameter. We'll turn on the PSV3 object loop. This is just the probability of that's the probability of severe weather. Just kind of look at this thunderstorm. Looks like it's kind of split and shifted just to the north of Lincoln. So I think the north side of town, you might see something. You folks in Lincoln are probably seeing a pretty impressive lightning show right now. But you can see also back out toward the west, toward Grand Island, there's several severe thunderstorms. Can we slide over to the west a little? Yep, right there. Perfect. So it looks like we got some 2-inch hail. What's the pink line showing there? Our probability tool. Looks like 1.88 inch hail size with that storm. Probability of hail with that for the Grand Island area, 90% probability. Looks like a probability of 18% on a tornado with this. So can you click on one of those 2 yellow boxes right there around Grand Island, double click it? All right, so that's the Hastings office. All right. I wasn't sure which National Weather Service office was covering that area. I think that's right on the borderline, actually, of all 3 of them. So go ahead, close out of that warning box. Let's scroll just a tad to the northwest, and let's see if we can find that North Platte radar. Yeah, Thedford, right in that area. To your left. There you go. Okay, so we actually do have a cell. Oh, right around. Okay, so this is looking at the North Platte National Weather Service radar, which is located right outside of Thedford, Nebraska. So this is actually showing, so this orange line, this is a trough. Looks like we do got a thunderstorm into the panhandle here into Box Butte, Sheridan counties here, just to the east of Alliance, Nebraska. And this is also picking up on some of that rain into Fall River County, which kind of shows me what the tops are. But what I'm looking at, again, is back into Wyoming, because now, Jason, can you move the mouse cursor over to that, yep, right there, that pink line? Right there, that is a, nope, that's not what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at is what, I don't know, occluded front? Sure looks like it. That's interesting. So, this is interesting because what we're seeing here is each time we bounce back and forth from one radar to another and then back to another one, we're seeing different readings on these fronts here, on these frontal boundary systems, which is really interesting to see in my opinion. So, to take a look at two other radars before we log off here, let's bounce over to Cheyenne, Wyoming. You can just scroll down, just move down to the CK, yep, just to your left there, just double click the blue. You went past it. Right there? Nope, scroll up. Just right there. All right, so this is looking at the Cheyenne radar. This is kind of important because this is showing the stationary front that's turning into a cold front. We got an occluded front. We got a lot of things to talk about right there off the Cheyenne radar right now. Cheyenne, it looks like Denver. You can see going into western Colorado down toward Grand, including Grand Junction. You got the red flag warning into parts of Colorado. You got severe thunderstorm watch along the Nebraska-Kansas borders. And then into Wyoming here, you can see that rain up toward Lusk, North Cheyenne. So temperatures are dropping into Wyoming. Eventually that rain is going to change into snow. But you can see this is one cold front. I don't know if that trough is going to turn into a second one or not. I'm thinking it's going to, because what I was seeing was two cold fronts, which would make sense because if the temps by Monday into Tuesday here in South Dakota are going to be in the as low as 30 degrees, that makes sense for there to be two cold fronts. One is just going to be, the first one will be weaker than the second one. Okay, and then the last radar I want to look at here before we sign off is the Denver, Colorado radar. And as you can see, a lot of red flag warnings across Colorado, even down toward Pueblo. Again, Grand Junction. There's some looks like some rain showers to the west of Fort Collins. Looks like there's also some rain in between Laramie and Cheyenne into Wyoming. So eventually, I mean, I'm not seeing any indication of this down here in Colorado. Colorado's been a lot like the Black Hills, where Denver's been relatively warm and dry for most of the winter as well. So, again, going back to on the streaming software, Jason, going back over to let's go back to the kind of the 4-day, scroll back up. Yeah, let's go back to that. So, to conclude our broadcast here this evening, so tonight here in the Black Hills, there's going to be a chance of rain, maybe in a couple rumbles of thunder. Temperatures are going to be 40 in the low 40s to low 50s. Tomorrow, it's going to be partly cloudy. The chance of thunderstorms. Temperatures mid 50s to low 70s. Going to be breezy because of that front. And then Monday, that front comes in Sunday night. Tomorrow night, temperatures are going to drop 20. Low temperatures are going to be low 30s to high temperatures around 50. No, excuse me, that's wrong. That's daytime highs ranging anywhere from 32 to 50 degrees. Rain mixing with snow. Some areas may see all snow depending on the elevation and temperatures. It's going to be breezy. I'm guessing winds are going to be probably in that 40-mile-an-hour range. Tuesday, it's going to warm back up a little bit to temperatures in the mid-40s to mid-50s with rain-snow mix, breaking to sunny conditions. Thanks for watching, Jason. So let's go back to the Rapid City radar one more time, please. And then go ahead and switch me back over on the streaming software if you could, please, Jason. Perfect. So as you can see, there's rain. I think it's just going to be a few sprinkles. I don't see much more than sprinkles. My guess is going to be less than a quarter inch with this. So this is going to be less than a wetting rain with this. To check what my theory on rain totals, we will go to rainfall, check the storm rainfall totals. So nothing really showing up here on the Rapid City radar as far as rain. So this is basically just going to be sprinkles. So a lot of things to keep an eye on tomorrow and into Monday and Tuesday. So Black Hills, there's a chance of thunderstorms. However, I think that main threat of the thunderstorms for western South Dakota is going to be east of the Black Hills. Okay, so Jason just was nice enough to animate the radar loop here, and you can see this is all kind of shifting in a, looks like a north by northeasterly toward the front. I mean, I know there's a time loop gap here, but that's kind of what I'm seeing on the animation of the reflectivity here. That's interesting. That's different. Okay. So, again, and then with that severe weather threat, that's going to be east of the Black Hills tomorrow. So, I will call it from Phillip east is going to be your main threat for severe weather tomorrow. If you're watching me from eastern and southeastern South Dakota, be on the lookout for severe thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon and evening. Make sure you have a way to receive multiple weather alerts if you are in southeastern South Dakota tomorrow. The conditions with this storm system in southeastern South Dakota are, the conditions will be right, the conditions will be favorable for tornadoes to form tomorrow. So, one last recap of that severe weather threat on the streaming software. Jason, let's see if we can pull up that severe weather threat for the Sioux Falls area. No. That's Rapid City. That one right there. Yep. So, again, in the timing on this, what the National Weather Service in Sioux Falls is saying, this was as of 2 o'clock this afternoon. You can see there's that enhanced to near moderate threat for tornadoes. Tornadoes are going to be possible with 2+ inch hail, so we're going to be talking egg, tennis ball, maybe even greater if a supercell really gets goes off in parties. Winds 70 miles an hour. That's when we talk winds, we're talking straight line winds. So there's a locally increased tornado risk with this. It's going to be interesting, but again, this includes Omaha, Lincoln, Wayne, Vermilion, Yankton, Sioux Falls, Pipestone, Minnesota, Sioux City, Iowa. So this area in orange, enhanced risk area tomorrow, this is what the storm chasers are kind of calling the bullseye area for storm chasing is going to be right here into southeastern South Dakota into northeastern Nebraska tomorrow. That's tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow night. Again, that's ahead of that cold front coming in out of Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. So, I'm Landon Wiley. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for any further weather updates. Have a good night.